As I always say, Mondays are always the most boring days starting the week. But, however, I always keep your Mondays fun and exciting. But for today, it's going to be a very interesting one for all of you. All our reviews are all about Sendai Girls. So if you guys are a big fan of the Yoshi wrestling scene, you're in luck. This is the right channel for you. But, as I said, this is all about Sendai Girls. So we're going to go through 4 different events. Now, 3 of the events are part of the 6th Jaja Uma Tournament, which is a tournament for the least experienced wrestlers that only have at least 3 years or less of experience. So we're going to see all of that. And then, of course, we have this one event that took place in Sapporo back on the 14th of October. So we're going to go through all of them, through A to Z. So that's how it's going to be for the entirety. And then, of course, we have some news updates to give you guys an update on what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling, but also to keep you guys updated. As you know, I put out a news update alert regarding about Samantha Irvin. Well, more information did came around, and I think by the time this video is out, maybe some of you already know about it, but who knows. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Lead It Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Lead It Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, I can either put it on the next episode or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions are set aside. Let's take a second star to the right, as Captain Kirk said on the 6th Star Trek film, The Undiscovered Country. So let's begin, of course, with the entirety of the episode with Sendai Girls. But the first event we're going to be reviewing is day 1 of course, of the 6th Jaja Uma Tournament. And I'll explain a little bit about that once we start. Okay, so this particular event from Sendai Girls, the 6th Jaja Uma Tournament, we're going to be doing this first and second round. This took place recently on the 3rd of October, and I believe this one was in Shinkiba. Yes, in Shinkiba. Now, those who are not familiarized with this tournament is about was only for the junior wrestlers, mostly wrestlers who have at least 3 years or possibly less of experience. They showcase talent from not only from Sendai Girls, but also from Stardom. We had girls from Pro Wrestling Wave, Seedling, and possibly other locations. So basically, think of it as like the version of the junior heavyweight or the rookie ones, however you want to do it. But that's what the idea is. So we have first round matches and, of course, second round. But we do have a non tournament match involved in this one. So they, of course, did the usual ceremony. They introduced wrestlers such as like Chi Chi from Evolutions, Aya Sakura and Rian from Stardom, Honoka from Wave, um, Miraya Okoga from Seedling, and various other locations. So, of course, there's the homegrown Yuna, who in fact is the only homegrown in Sendai. So basically, you get the idea. So we got those type of wrestlers. Now, let's begin with the first two matches involving the first round. We have Spike Nishimura versus Rian. Now, I don't know much about Spike Nishimura, but she seems she has a bit of the experience good. Rian, who only has like maybe a couple of months of experience, well, you can guess that this match ended with Spike winning the match when she applied a short range lariat. So, you know what I'm talking about from there. Our second match, we have Yuzuki versus Soy from Evolution. Forgot that she was also with Chi Chi in this one. But yeah, anyway, I don't know much about Yuzuki, but she did pretty well until she applied a diving body splash onto her and just picked up the win just like that. Now, our next match is, of course, one of the second round match of the Jaja Uma Tournament. We have Mizuki Kota, who I'm familiarized with. I've seen her before in an independent show or something. She faces against Honoka from Pro Wrestling Wave. Uh, Kato, she's a big girl. You probably asked if you ever seen it, but I asked myself how would Honoka do try to, of course, apply a win. Well, I don't know because there's always ways. But Honoka was able to pick up the win when she applied a bridge, and just like that, it was over. Now our next match is not part of the tournament, but however, we do have, of course, a six-woman tag match. We have, of course, Shin Sakura Iroda. She teams up with Team 100 and 200 Team 200 kilogram, which is consistent of our current champions, Yu and Shihiro Hashimoto. They face against Manami and Dash Shizako and Mika Awada. So basically, nothing too significant of that. But however, you look at certain factors. When it comes to Iroda, you know you don't want to be around her because she'll put her fingers right in your butthole. That was one thing you don't want to be around. But you look at you and Big Hash, you ask yourselves, okay, they're two big women. You don't want to be pancaked around her. But however, Manami was able to pick up a win with the schoolboy, and just like that, it was over. However, there was a post match consistent with, of course, with um, Iwata and Nanami. The reason is this because there is going to be a title match between those two, and I think that will take place, of course, on the 20th of October, which we'll be reviewing as well. But however, we'll get to that. Now, our next three matches, we continue with more of the second round matches of the Jaja Uma Tournament. We have, of course, we have Spike Nishimura. As you know, she picked up the win against Chi Chi. Pick up against Rian. Now she faces Chi Chi. Now, of course, Chi Chi, as you know, she is a very prominent wrestler. Many people have given her high praises. Um, of course, I was like a bit saddened that she did not beat Zones because many people have given her props for everything. But she was able to pick up a very impressive pinfall against her, and just like that, she advanced into the semifinals. Next up, we got, of course, Aya Sakura facing against Yuzuki. Of course, everybody knows who Aya Sakura is. She's from Stardom. Yuzuki, I forgot what promotion she's in, but I wasn't too sure how Aya Sakura would do that. But a lot of people have been giving her praises how much of she has developed her tradecraft, even though she was out for a couple of months since last year. But she was able to pick up the win with the modified Triangle Lancer that allowed her to advance into the semifinals. Our main event, we have Yuna, who is in fact the homegrown of Sendai Girls, faces against uh, Mirai, no, Mirai or Koga, who is of course a rookie down with Seedling. So I wasn't too sure if this is going to end with Yuna, and it did. She picked up a fantastic pinfall against her, and just like that, it was win. So she goes into the semifinals. So we'll get to all of that. So my thoughts of this tournament, I have to say, is pretty impressive. I mean, 10 girls, but someone had to be an odd person out, and it kind of worked in the favor. So I like the idea. I think some of you may prefer like certain girls from the promotions, like you like Stardom or that, but we'll see how it goes. So we got a little bit of the tournament to go from here on out. But for right now, let's move on to the next show that took place in Sapporo, but it's not part of the tournament. This is just a plain old Stardom show. I mean, Seedling show. No, this is Sendai Girls show. So we'll get to that. Okay, as we continue with more of Sendai Girls, now we're going to switch to a different setting. This took place in Sapporo on the 14th of October. This is not part of the Jaja Uma Tournament, in case anybody asks. This is just a straight up event in Sapporo with only one championship match involved. Our first match, we have Yuna taking on Miyuki Takase. Now, of course, as you all know, Yuna is still a rookie with less than 3 years of experience, facing a wrestler who has about maybe 7 or 8 years of experience, Miyuki Takase. And of course, it was going to fall in favor with her, but she was able to finish this match when she applied a guillotine leg drop from the top of the turnbuckle, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, good night, Yuna. Our next match, we have a tag team match. We have Soy from Evolution teaming up with Lady Destroyer, Hiroyo Matsumoto. They take on the former Sendai Girls tag team champions, uh, Manami and Ryo Mizunami. Now, of course, factor of this match is Soy. Much like any other rookie we've been watching, she is currently still the least experienced of the group, and that's always been the case. However, it was Mizunami with a spear onto Soy and picked up the win. Our next match is a bit of a rematch between Chi Chi and Mika Iwata. Now, there was a recent Sendai Girls event that I did review where Chi Chi and Mika Iwata were in clashing, but now they get a little. But however, Chi Chi has improved a little bit, but however, it's still not enough against someone who is far more experienced and far more dangerous in the ring, and that was Iwata. Iwata applied a driver onto her, and just like that, she she wins. However, Chi Chi, she has to now focus not to let this loss affect her in her tournament in the semifinals, which of course is the last thing you need. Our next match, we have um, Dash Shizuka. She teams up with the boss herself, the founder of Sendai Girls, the final boss, Meiko Satomura. As you all know, her road to her retirement has begun already. They face against the former Sendai Girls Tag Champions, Baba Momo Banana, consistent of Yurika Oka and Miyu Momono. Now, of course, you would think that Meiko Satomura, being the boss, was going to walk out as the winner. Well, she did, because she applied the Scorpion Rising onto Oka, and just like that, it was over. And then, of course, she did put out a promo. I don't know what she said to both Mio and Oka, but I'm sure she's giving them props from their skills and their friendship. And of course, talking to Dash, who has been a very highly skilled wrestler. We'll see what happens between us. But as you know, I'm sure that there are those who want to challenge Meiko Satomura before April of 2025 when she retires. Now for our main event. This is for the Sendai Girls Tag Team titles. Now, this came around when after Team 200 kilogram defeated, of course, Ba 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 Moa Banana, and then Hate, consistent of Ruaka and Sukotora, attacked to send a message. So you would think that there was going to be cheating involved, because when it comes to Hate being the villain faction in Stardom, we're going to figure out a way to get these titles. Well, they Natsuko they were made both team 200 kilogram were missed, but that did not stop them. But of course, Hashimoto was the one who picked up the win on Raka, and just like that, it was over. So they were able to retain the titles, and of course, Hate were attempts has failed. So we'll see what happens down the line. But for now, we are done with this particular one with Sendai Girls. Let's move on with, of course, the next one involving more with the Jaja Uma Tournament. Okay, we continue with more with Sendai Girls. Now, as you know, I did talk about their recent tournament, which I failed to say is a 3-day event. So we already have day one covered, which took place back on October 3rd in Shinkiba. And now we are here for day two on the tournament with the semifinals. Now, there are some matches that are not part of the tournament, but we do have our main event, which was a very special one. So let's begin. We have, of course, a tag team match. We have Spike Nishimura teaming up with Lady Destroyer Hiroyo Matsumoto. They take on Manami and Ryo Mizunami. Now, of course, certain factors of this match you would guess. Now, of course, Spike is the one with the least experience. That played out. But of course, you got to remember, Nanami and Ryo Mizunami are former tag champions, so that could let out. But however, it was, of course, Manami with the diving body splash that sealed the deal to put away Spike, and just like that, it was over. Next match, we have Aruka Umisaki, all the way from Diana, taking on Yurika Oka. Thought this match was crazy. Now, of course, many of you would think in some capacity, especially if you know who's in Sendai Girls, Yurika Oka, who's in fact from Sendai, was going to pick up the win since this was her home field advantage. But unfortunately, this match ended in a time limit draw, so basically nobody wins. And of course, here in the States, you probably would say it's a load of crap. But that's how it goes. Our next match, we have Soy. She teams up with someone else from Diana. We're talking about Nanami. They take on, of course, Team 200 kilogram, Yu and Big Hash herself. Now, of course, Soy has the powerhouse type maneuver, but when it comes to Nanami, she is a little different. But you would probably figure that this match was going to fall into favor to Team 100 kilogram, when, of course, but surprisingly, it was Big Hash who, in fact, applied a submission onto Soy to pick up the win. And then, of course, there was a promo. Don't know what was all of that about, but it sets it up. Now, our next two matches are part of the semifinals of the Jaja Uma Tournament. Our first match, we have Honoka versus Chi-Chi. So, of course, many of you would think, okay, it's Chi-Chi who's been very impressive these last few months. I mean, I think a fire lit in her ever since she couldn't beat Zones after the 1-year anniversary. But she has grown significantly, has grown up a little bit more. But she was able to defeat Honoka with the Ironagi, which is the same move that Suri actually taught her. And as you guys know, Suri has spoken highly of her all the time. So yeah, and she picked up the Unagi. She proceeded into the finals. Our next match, we have Aya Sakura versus Yuna, who of course is the homegrown girl. Now, of course, many people would assume Yuna, who is the homegrown in Sendai, she would have picked up the win, but nope. Aya Sakura, who we have seen now, of course, many people can say Aya Sakura had those few months where she was out due to the injury, but she was able to recover, and she has grown, and she had a stellar performance when she fought for the future belt, and she did the same thing too, and she defeated Yuna with, of course, a high kick into the face, and just like that, it was over. But the finals feature, of course, um, what's her name? Her versus Chi Chi. And this was a very intensified moment because, A, those who don't know or remember this, I reported that Chi Chi declared war against Stardom. Her idea is to snatch the Stardom fan base and send them to Evolution. The only reason Chi Chi wants that was because she hasn't forgotten the humiliation loss that she had against Umasaki. And there are those who believe that she will get her hands on her now that she is the current future champion. That is something we could see down the line, but only time will tell when will that happen. So we'll see what happens on the next one. Now, our main event, we have all the way from Stardom, Shuri teaming up with Dash Shizako, taking on Red Energy, consistent of Miyuki Takase and the current Sendai Girls World Champion, Mika Iwata. So of course, many people would think, why was Shuri be there? I have to say it's very interesting because I thought it was a lot of fun and I think it was enjoyable. Shuri has wrestled with Sendai Girls before when she was a freelancer, but it was not her who picked up the win. It was Dash who picked up the win onto Mika, and of course, you got to think of this: Mika is the current world champions, so basically that would lead to her maybe the possibility of getting a world title shot. And of course, Shuri had a little talk to her, saying, to Mika that probably I'm going to say that she wants a challenger, but I don't think for the belt, just a straight up match with her. And of course, Dash, she probably will get a shot of the world title, but we'll see what that leads to. So I think that's pretty much it right now with this one with Sendai Girls. Let's move on to the finals of the Jaja Uma Tournament. Okay, we are now, how to say, in the finals of Sendai Girls Jaja Uma Tournament. So we'll get to that, but that will be our semi-main event because our main event is the Sendai Girls World Championship. So let's start with the non-tournament match. Our first match, we have, of course, we have from Mirai Koga teaming up with Soy. They take on Miyuki Takase and Yuna. Interesting enough, you only have one person with the most experience in wrestling, which is Miyuki Takase. But it was, of course, a Yuna that was able to pick up the win with a drop kick from the top turnbuckle onto Koga just to pick up the win, and just like that. So, nothing too fancy, but she picked up the good win. Our next match, we have a team up, of course. We have Baba Bomo Banana, consisting of Yuka Ruka and Miyu Momono. They team up with Ryo Mizunami. They take on Yuta Yuzuki, Veni, and Dash Shizako. So basically, certain things you probably would think. um, but I have to say, a very interesting matchup. But it was, of course, what was it? It was Yuna Mizumori. No, was it? Yes. It was Yuna Mizumori that picked up the win with a somewhat of a twisty frog splash onto Yuzuki to pick up the win. So nothing too significant on that one. Next up, we do have another tag team match. We have Spike Nishimura teaming up with, of course, Lady Destroyer Hiroyo Matsumoto, taking on Team 200 kilogram Yu and Hashimoto. Of course, this match you would think that there's going to be a very interesting moment. I mean, we know Matsumoto is a big, strong wrestler, but I don't think Spike has ever dealt with them. But unfortunately, she was the one that ended up on the wrong side of a Death Valley bomb by Hashimoto to pick up the win. However, during the post-match, apparently when, of course, Team 200 kilogram were celebrating their victory, they had a surprise visit for Venny. But it doesn't take a genius to figure out what is it that she wants. And that is, of course, the tag team titles. But the real question is, who's her partner? So that's going to be a very interesting thing. But I'm sure 200, I'm sure you and Big Hash are well prepared and well mentally stable to see how things are going to go. Now, for our next match, we have, of course, the finals of the Jaja Uma Tournament, consistent of Aya Sakura versus Chi-Chi. Now, remember, if you guys remember, I did mention that Chi-Chi has declared war against Stardom due to the fact that she hasn't forgotten her loss that she had with Amasaki. And this, in a way, it would solidify her as a way to hopefully put Evolution on the map. Because, of course, they have been around for almost, what, a year and a half or so. So that would set up everything. And of course, many people cannot often know that I spoke highly of Chi-Chi being a prospect wrestler, and that hasn't changed at all. But however, she faced against Aya Sakura, who we all know has given out a perfect performance when she lost to Rina for the future belt. And this could put her on the map as well for a shot of the future belt, which is something she's still considered. Because of course, you got to remember Aya Sakura, who is one of the two rookies in Cosmic Angels. She was the one who debuted before her. So that would have put out. But however, it was a stellar match. I have to say, I was very impressed. And I think, I'm not sure if there was half and half in this match, but Chi-Chi was able to pick up the win with the Uranagi. And of course, Aya Sakura lost. But Chi-Chi won the tournament. But in the post-match, she did a promo, and that's when something interesting. Now, I wasn't too sure what was going on, but apparently someone translated that it seems that Chi-Chi has a bigger play, and that play is for the Sendai Girls Junior World Championship, which is a title that's been vacant for almost a year or two. And it seems Yuna also wanted that belt as well, so we could see that type. But as for Aya Sakura, I know some of you don't know this, she was so disappointed of losing, being second place. But however, there is someone who understands her, what's it like to be second, and that person is of course Tam Nakano. Because if you guys remember, she was the runner-up for the 2022 5-star Grand Prix, which is the same match that of course inspired Kurara to join. So Tam understands the feeling, what's that like. But hopefully, maybe Aya Sakura can improve even more better. So we'll see where that leads us. Now our next match is our main event. This is for the Sendai Girls World Championship. We have Manami versus Mika Iwata. Of course, this match was going to be hard-hitting and all that. Iwata is a very dangerous wrestler, but she was able to pick up the win with a driver, allowing herself to pick up the win and, of course, put out a promo towards Manami. I'm sure she sees Manami as a wrestler who will one day become champion. However, the next challenger was the one person I figured it was going to make her play, and that is Dash. Dash made it, decided to issue the challenge. So let's see what happens until then. I'm sure it's going to happen sooner or later. So for right now, I think we are done with, of course, with all of our reviews with Sendai Girls. Let's move on with our final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. So let's begin with upcoming events with the promotions. We have a couple with GCW. As you know, we have the Chaos in Kentucky in Louisville on the 14th of November. They just announced the American Giant will be present. And then, of course, the next day in St. Louis for the Gateway to the Death, they announced that Masha Slamovich will take on Gary J. And then finally, as you know, we have the People versus GCW taking place on January 19th. And two names have been announced to participate, and that is Ali Catch and John Wayne Murdoch. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Now, on the 9th of November, we do have MLW for Lucha Apalito, consistent of this person phone. I don't know who she is, but hopefully I pronounced it find her name. Yeah, so she'll be making her appearance. And then, of course, on the 17th of November, Deadlock Pro Wrestling has the World's Strongest. Excuse me, the World's Strongest, and they announced that the DPW National Championship will be on the line. Adam Pearce defends his belt against Kushida. Yep, that's right, he will be there. Arrival Wrestling will announce for their third event for Arrival 3 on the 22nd of November. Masha Savage will be making her appearance. German promotion WXW have an event coming up on the 23rd of November called Broken Rules. They announced that the tag team titles will be on the line. The current champions, former Young Lions, you may know them as Oscar Lobe and Yuto Nakashima, known as Young Blood, they defend the belt against the guys called KXK, consisting of Axel Tischer, formerly Alexander Wolf from WWE, and now Fast Time Mood. And then finally, Prestige Wrestling announced for Roseland 10 that will take place on the 11th of January of 2025. So that's pretty much it for the upcoming events. Now let's talk about some developments. Now, if you guys remember recently, I put out a report about Samantha Irvin leaving WWE. Now, I want to put this on a rant. I feel people are freaking stupid, in my opinion. Why you guys are blaming Ricochet for leaving? People are saying right now, oh, she's going to AEW because Ricochet is there. I get it, guys. I get that crap. But it's not fair for Ricochet to be blamed for something he did not do. Now, he did state it on his X account saying she's not going to AEW, so just relax. You know, and it's glad to hear that he say that. But people are still playing the blame game on this, and I get it. You know, so I understand that. But that needs to stop. But of course, Lillian Garcia comes out, and it was revealed that she will be taking her position as a ring announcer in Raw full time. So, if there's any more with Samantha Irvin, we'll talk about that. Now, on to other things. As you know, Daniel Garcia made a deal with AEW recently, and he just spoke about that in Yahoo Sports. They asked to reveal the reasons why he decided to stay with AEW, and this is what he said. A big part of the reason why I love AEW is that we can go do other things. I can go do indies if I want. We have a relationship with New Japan, CML, and where I can still experience other places. I feel like New Japan Pro Wrestling was always my dream when I first started being a wrestler. That's something I always wanted to accomplish. I wouldn't feel full in my wrestling career until I have a little stint there. I feel to keep those doors open was very important. So it makes sense, guys. I mean, if you want to experience wrestling other locations, then you have to do it. And AEW is the place. Now, I know some of you would say, but WWE are allowing places they can go. I mean, yeah, we saw talent go to to Noah. There's like reality wrestling, Booker T's promotion. I get that, but yeah, that's what he feels. Saya Kamitani recently talked about how Tam saying turned heel is because of her. And this is what she said. I read comments on Tam Nakano's article said, I wonder if she became that because she dislocated her elbow in that match against me. But it's not true at all. I'm not here now such a weak determination that I would be influenced by someone else. I'm here now because of my own strong will. Tam was wearing the red belt at the same time last year. So, do I think, huh? It's her again. The landscape of stardom hasn't changed at all, has it? It's not interesting. I want to drag her down right now and show you guys the sight of lamenting. Maybe Tam's not good enough anymore. I want to retire in tears. So, yeah. So basically, Tam is thinking maybe the injury might have caused it, but she doesn't. But Kamitani thinks is shutting down the whole thing about her saying that. Now, as for Shelton Benjamin, as you know, he signed with AEW recently, and this is what he told to Gabby AF about his signing. I did a few other offers. MLW was very interesting. I was doing a lot of international things, exploring other options in and out of pro wrestling. Acting was one of them, even feel like real estate and things not related to wrestling. It's basically boiled down to I put myself in the best possible position to succeed. When the door closed at WWE, I really thought long and hard about where I wanted to go. Impact was very tempting place to go. What boils down is I want the biggest possible audience. Outside of WWE, there was nowhere bigger than AEW. I don't have much time. A lot of guys as far in the ring. Not not that I'm going to retire anytime soon, but for the time I have left, I want to reach the biggest possible audience. What better place than AEW? There is no place better. So he thought real hard what made him decide. So it makes sense. It's like, AEW is probably the logical choice. But we'll see how things will progress now in AEW with them. We'll be following. I know there's a lot of talk and rumors about the possibility of reforming a new version of the Hurt Business called the Hurt Syndicate. So we'll see how that rolls up as well. But for now, let's just call it a day. Okay, so hope everybody enjoys this episode. Uh, I know it's kind of strange that I did an entire episode of Sendai Girls, but I hope you guys enjoy it because it's very rare of me to do some things like this, but I'm glad I did it. For the next episode, we do have NXT. I haven't decided what other ones I want to review, but we'll see how things will go. But as always, NXT is at the top priority. I know recently we had the much recent re-debut of Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, which is a Canadian promotion, now run by Scott D'Amore. There's those I can see. Recently there was a Stardom show that I haven't seen yet, and we'll see what other things will happen. But for now, we'll leave things as it is, and we'll go from there. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.